In this video, we are going to cover topics in demand and supply, that is reading 12 of CFA Level 1 curriculum. So the chapter is mainly divided into three aspects, that is demand. Uh, the topic is divided into three aspects: the demand, uh, supply, as well as the cost curves. So let's discuss about demand and its aspects. Firstly, the law of demand. The law of demand describes what is a change in price due to change in quantity demanded. So, in order to analyze law of demand, we'll assume that all other things be keeping constant. That is, the price of related goods as well as income of consumer is kept to be constant for analyzing the law of demand. So, the law of demand describes the change in price due to change in quantity demanded. So, when the price increases, the quantity demand decreases. See in this graph, the optimum price and quantity demand is this. When the price of good increase to this, the quantity demanded will be reduced to this, and then the price of good reduced, people start consuming more of the good. So there is an inverse relation between law of price and quantity in law of demand. So price is inversely related to quantity demanded. And next, we'll move on to the next topic, that is demand function. Demand function is describes us with what are the factors that affect the quantity demanded. So the price of good will affect the demand, as we have discussed in the law of demand, and income of consumer will also affect the demand, because when income of a consumer increases, he start demanding more of goods, and when income decreases, he consume less of goods. And price of substitute will also have an impact on the demand function. That is, when there is an increase in price of substitute, people start consuming more of other substitute. When there's a decrease in price of substitute, but when there's an increase in price of substitute, people move on to the other substitute, which they can get at the lower cost than others. Let's take an example. Colgate are Pepsodent and Pepsodent are the toothpaste. When price of Pepsodent increases, people start moving or buying more of Colgate, and when so the demand of Colgate will increase. So let's and the next topic is elasticity. Elasticity simply describes the degree of change in quantity demanded due to its related factors. We have discussed the three related factors earlier, that is price, income of a consumer, as well as price of related goods. So elasticity is divided into three areas, that is price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, as well as cross elasticity of demand. So what is price elasticity of demand? What is a change in quantity demanded due to change in price? So percentage change in the formula of price elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demanded by percentage change in price. Simply refers to what is the change in quantity demand due to change in price. Of course, the price elasticity of demand will have a negative relationship, because when price increases, the quantity demanded of a good reduces. When the price decreases, the quantity demand of good increases, which will have a negative relationship. So the elasticity will always be negative for price elasticity of demand. And when we move on to the income elasticity of demand, uh, describes us that change in quantity demanded when there is a proportionate change in quantity demand when there is a proportionate change in income. So income elasticity of demand is positive for normal goods, because when there's an increase in income, the consumers start buying more of goods, and when income decreases, the consumers start consuming less of goods. So there's a positive relation, and the elasticity of demand will also be positive. And inferior goods, we'll discuss about inferior goods later. So now, cross elasticity of demand. Cross elasticity of demand is simply the percentage change in quantity demanded for X good when there is a change in percentage change in price of a good Y. Simply, the price of Y simply here is it may be either a substitute or complement. When the price of substitute increases, the quantity demanded of our good will increase. So it will have a positive relationship. When price increases, quantity demand will also increase. And complementary goods, it will be negative, because let's take an example: car and fuel. When price of cars increases, So then people stops buying car. So it will have a negative influence upon fuel, because fuel consumption is not increasing, or it is reducing to some extent. And yeah, okay. To say elasticity, we can write it as a percentage change in quantity demand by percentage change in price. Simply, the percentage change in quantity demanded means change in quantity by actual quantity by percentage change in price by price, which we can write it as a change in quantity by price into price by quantity. And since we assume for analyzing, we'll assume law of demand as a linear curve. So slope. Uh, there is a slope for this point. So this is termed as slope. For whenever we are writing a linear equation, y is equal to mx plus c in the form of demand, for law of demand, this change in quantity by change in price, that is y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1, is the slope for the law of demand curve. So exceptions to law of demand. In normally the law of demand is a downward sloping, that is when price increases the quantity demand will decrease. But in certain cases there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demand. Then there is a positive relationship when there is an increase in price of good, people start buying more of good. When there's a decrease in price, people start consuming low of that good. Example, there are two exceptions, that is gift